Hi guys, welcome back to iCADTUTOR channel. I hope you are well, and I also hope you have practiced and learned all the drawing tools that I taught you in the first session. I saw that the weather is so good today, so I decided to start the second part of AutoCAD tutorial series. In this video, we are going to learn modify tools. Before we jump into these modify tools, we must do something. We need to learn how to select objects in AutoCAD so that we can modify them. So let's see how we can select objects in AutoCAD. A simple way to select an object is to click on it. Click. Click. Guys, look at the sign next to the mouse cursor. It is plus. It means that if you click on this object, it will be selected. Click on any object you want to select. Oh no, I was talking to you and I made a mistake. I shouldn't have clicked on this object. What should I do? Hold down the Shift key. Do you see the minus sign next to the cursor? Click on the object to deselect it. The same here. Hold down the Shift key. Click on the object to deselect it. If you wanna deselect all the objects, press Escape key. So simple. Okay, this is the first way. Another way. Pay attention. Look and see how I select the objects. Click at any point in the right side of the drawing area and drag the cursor towards left side to include the objects in the selection window. Click. Please memorize the objects we have selected. 2 lines, a circle and an arc. Press Escape key to exit the selection. Now this time I wanna click at the left side and drag the cursor towards right side to include the objects in the selection window. Let's see what happens. This time these objects are selected and the lines are not selected. Why? Pay attention. It's so simple but very important. Guys, if you create a selection window from right to left, its name is crossing. Do you see the green dotted line rectangle? It is crossing. In this case, any object, even a small part of it, that this window crosses will be selected. Even a small part of an object. Once again, right side, up or down, doesn't matter. Do you see? Here I drag it to the left and the window must cross at least a small part of an object to select it. Look at the circle. The window only crosses a small part of it, but whole circle is selected. But when you create a selection window from left to right, pay attention, The window must cross hold the object to select it. Here you can see only a circle and an arc are completely included in the selection window. So a circle and an arc will be selected. In this case, the window is blue and the rectangle lines are not dotted. So only these two objects are selected. Another method. When you start to create a selection window, we have three options in the command line. One of them is fence. Type F, enter. Do you see? Now I have a dotted line. In this method, the fence is a crossing line that will select all objects that it intersects. Look, it selects the circle, although it's not inside the circle. It just touches the circle slightly. Enter. Do you see? We have another option called window polygon. Let's see how it works. Type WP, enter. Guys, it is like a selection window, but here we should create a window by specifying the points. And in this case, it is not necessarily a rectangle. It can be any shape you wish. The last option is crossing polygon. Type CP, enter. Like polygon method, you can create a window in any shape you wish. It selects these objects. Sometimes I see that one of my students, instead of clicking and taking his hand off the mouse button and again clicking, he is dragging. Although this is another way, but I don't recommend it because it's not interesting. I recommend that you click and include the objects in the selection window and again click at the end to select the objects. Guys, sometimes I need to select all the objects and all the drawings and move them all together. Hold down Ctrl key and press A. You can see that all the drawings are selected. Press Escape to deselect. Guys, pay attention. Here I draw a line. I command draw another line overlapping the first line. Guys, what I want to explain now is more useful in 3D drawings, but I also explain this so that nothing is left incomplete. Sometimes two lines overlap each other, which makes it difficult to select the object, especially in 3D drawings. In order to select one of the lines, you can use this method. Click on the customization. Here, click on the selection cycling to tick. Okay, now the selection cycling icon is visible on the status bar. Click on it to turn it on. Look guys, now if I click here, it says you have two lines. Which one do you want to select? Move the cursor over the two options, it shows the lines. If you choose this option, this line will be selected. I try again. I wanna click on the overlapping. If you click on this, it is clear that you have one line. If you click on the overlapping, you have two choices. This line and this one that I click. Now which one do you want? The smaller line or the big one? Move the mouse over the options. It shows the lines. I choose this one. The smaller line is selected. Let's turn the selection cycling off. Look, in this case, if you click on the overlapping area, it doesn't say you have two lines. Of course, here in this instance, you can easily select the line without using the selection cycling. But sometimes there is a condition that you have to use this method. There is also another method to select objects. It is quick select. I prefer to teach you this method after learning some other AutoCAD tools, because if I teach it at this time, you might get confused. Well guys, I think I taught you everything you need to know about selection methods. So it's time to start learning the modify tools. Well guys, the first modify tool we are going to learn about is the erase tool. The icon itself shows that it is the erase tool. This tool is useful for erasing and removing objects. Guys, listen up. When using modify tools, you can select the objects first and then activate the command, or you can activate the tool first and then select the objects. I recommend this. First, select the objects you want to change, move, copy, erase, or whatever. So first select the object, then go to the modify tool. For example, here I wanna erase these two lines. You can click on the objects or create a selection window to select. Drag from left to right, only these two objects are included. Selected. You can press delete key or you can type E and press enter or space. I prefer to type E and press the space instead of using the delete key. Type E, press enter or space key. Both do the same thing. So simple. Again press enter. Now I wanna delete these three lines. This time first I activated the erase command. I pressed the enter key and the last command activated. I wanna delete this one, and this one. Do you see? They look somewhat faded. Now press enter or space to remove the objects. So simple. And also you can select the objects first, like this. I don't want this one. Hold down shift key, then click on the object. It will be deselected. E enter, they are removed. This tool is very easy to learn. So please practice this tool so that you can use it easily. The next tools we are going to learn are the move and copy tools. These two modify tools do the same thing, except that, as the names imply, if you use the move tool, it moves the selected objects. But if you use the copy tool, it copies the selected objects and then moves that copy. Now, in order for you to learn these two modify tools well, I will go to the copy tool first, and then I'll go to the move tool. Let's start. I wanna copy this drawing and move it from this point to this point. Now what should I do? I command select the drawing. Of course, as I explained before, you can activate the command first and then select the objects, or you can select the objects first and then activate the command. I prefer to select the objects first and then activate the tool. I select the objects. Here let me point out that in addition to the selected objects, you can even select other objects. Also, you can hold down shift key and deselect the objects by creating a selection window. The same here, you can deselect the objects or deselect them. Okay, I selected the objects. Now I wanna copy. To do so, I should activate the copy command. It is located in the modify panel. Click on it, or as you know, I don't do that since it slows me down. Instead, I use the shortcuts. It is in this case the first two letters of the tool name. Type CO enter. The tool is activated. Now it prompts me to specify a base point to copy from. Then when you paste, the objects will be attached to the cursor from this point. I wanna copy from this point. Now, how should I specify the precise point location? Here I use a tool that we learned in the first part of this tutorial. We need one of the drawing aids or snap, object snap, and you can press F3 to activate it. Guys, if you don't know how to use these drawing aids, please watch the first part of this tutorial, since these drawing aids help you a lot. Look, if you press F3, you can easily specify a base point so that the objects you selected will be copied to a new location you want. Even you can click here. It is not necessary to have an endpoint. You can click anywhere you want. Even you can use another drawing aid, that is Auto Snap, the same auto drag. I wanna click on the intersection between these two green guidelines. Do you see? So I move the cursor to this point and move straight to the left and move up to this point and come back. Do you see? It gives me the intersection I want. So simple. Click on the intersection. Finished. Guys, if you pay attention, you can see that you can paste the copied objects as many as you like. What's the reason? Now I will say, let's exit the command and reactivate the tool. Select this object, enter. Here if I choose the mode option, or enter, I see it is set to multiple mode by default. Whenever you come across the word multiple, it means that you can repeat an action as many times as you like. Got it? Now if I choose the single option, it prompts me to specify a base point and a second point to copy. Do you see? In this case, you can only copy once and no more. I'd certainly prefer to leave it in multiple mode, because if I wanna copy a selected object twice, why should I waste time exiting the command and reactivating it? Exit, activate, exit, activate. So type CO, enter. Select object, enter. The mode option, type O, enter. The multiple mode, so type M, enter. Now it is multiple mode, okay. Guys, let me get rid of these drawings. I wanna point out one thing. If I didn't know about the selection window, I would have to click on the objects one by one to select them. Now I easily create a selection window, another one, and also here, and this one. Press delete or type E, press space or enter. No difference. I think the space key is more handy. Well. Now listen. I wanna copy this drawing. So I select it. Type CO, enter. But at a specified distance. And here I specified the base point, and in this direction, at a specified distance, I want it to be 7 meters. Press enter to finish. An important point, please pay attention. Most students get confused and ask, where is the distance of 7 meters? I wanna use a command that we haven't learned yet, although we will learn in the next video. But since I wanna show you the distance, I use this tool. Type DI, enter. It measures the distance. Let me measure this distance. No, it is not 7. Let me measure this distance. No, again, it is not 7. So then what happened to these 7 meters? Listen. In AutoCAD, when we say copy an object a specified distance, as in this example, or move it a specific distance, or whatever, it means the distance between the similar objects. As in this example, this point is similar to this point. So the distance from this point to this point is 7. Got it? Once again, I activate the command, and now this point is similar to this point, so this distance is 7. Got it? Some students think that the specified distance is the distance between two copies. No, it's not. I activate the command once again. The first time I clicked here. This time I click here and I want the distance to be 7. Okay. Where did it go? I can't see the copied objects. Guys, activate the selection cycling. I have already explained this drawing aid. I take a look and see, yes, here I have two objects. They are pasted on top of these objects. How is it possible? The first time I clicked here and typed the distance, so the base point pasted here. Not this time I clicked here and the same distance, now it is pasted here again. Yes, because as I said, this distance is the distance between two similar objects. Here is the base point. According to the given distance, then the base point will be pasted here. Let me draw a line to clarify. Here was the base point, okay? Let's copy and paste it here. As you can see, this base point is pasted to this point. It means that this distance is 7. Not the distance from the base point to this point, which is far from this one. My friends, please learn this well. Most of times students get confused. An important point. For example, if you wanna copy this drawing and you want a specific point like this to be pasted to another specific point, do you see? For example, if you wanna paste here or here, so in this case, you need to click on that specific point as a base point. But if it doesn't matter whether you click here or here, and you just wanna copy an object using the distance, you don't need to click on one of the drawing points, for example, this point. If you click here and type 7, it's as if you click on this point and type 7. Got it? Well, let's draw something simple. Oh, but before that, let me explain something. Guys, now I select these objects and wanna copy. I must specify a direction to paste. The right side, the left side, paste above or below the selected objects, or I want it to be angular, vertical, horizontal, whatever. First specify the direction, then type the distance. Okay. Now let me draw a circle. I wanna introduce another tool to you. Select the circle, copy, specify a base point. I click on the center to specify the base point. Guys, here I see the array option. Array is a very useful tool in AutoCAD. There is even an icon here for this tool that is more useful than this array here. But since in this copy I have the array option here and I don't wanna leave it incomplete, I'm going to show you how this tool works when you wanna copy. So I activate the array, enter. You guessed it, it prompts me to enter the number of items. Type 4, enter. It's so clear. Using this tool you can make multiple copies of the objects at equal distances. Do you see? Let me point out one thing. Do you guys see these 4 circles here? The number of items you initially enter also includes the main object. Once again, enter. This time I want it in this direction and 5 items. 5 items at equal distances, which you can specify the distance by clicking or typing. Now let me draw a line. There is one more point. I draw a circle, select it, copy. Now I must specify a base point. Guys, this time I need this point to be pasted here. Therefore, it is important to specify this point as the base point, not other points. I click on this point, type A, enter, type 3. I see here I have a fit option. Let me activate this option to see what happens. F, enter. Guys, listen well. Do you guys see what is happening? I use this fit option if I don't know the distances between objects. And I just know that from this point to this point, I wanna place 2, 3, or 8 circles at equal distances. The program itself determines the equal distances. Okay. So simple. Guys, let's draw a staircase using the tools we already learned. A simple staircase. The unit is meter. Before in the first part, I taught you how to set the units. Type L, enter. Stair riser height is 20 centimeters. It is meter, so I type 0.2. The length of the run is 30 centimeters, so I type 0.3. Press enter to exit. I wanna copy. CO, enter. The base point, I need it to be here since I wanna paste it here. Okay. Since I want to have multiple copies, so I use the array option. How many items? 15. Okay. I want the second point to be located here. Click. So in this way, I drew a staircase using the copy and array commands. You can even select the objects and copy, then click to paste it where you want. Paste it as much as you like. But using the array command, it became much easier. Well guys, now let's move on to the next command, the move. I select the object, activate the move, the shortcut that is M, enter. Guys, here, if you need to move the center of this circle to this point, do you see? You must click on that point. I move it here. Select, M, enter. I want to specify the quadrant point as the base point. In the previous session, I taught you how to find the quadrant points using the OSNAP. Please take a look at the first video. Hold down the Shift key, right click, quadrant. Click on the quadrant point. Look, here the OSNAP helped me to find the quadrant point. I want it to be located here. Click. So simple. Now I want to move an object a specific distance from the base point. Select and copy. Pay attention. Click to specify the base point. I choose the center. Choose the direction you want. Right, left. I want to move it 5 meters and vertically. Type 5, enter. Okay. Now select this one, M, enter. The base point here, type 5, enter. Do you see? They are horizontally aligned. Because if you wanna move or copy an object, it doesn't matter where you specify the base point. And as you can see here, the selected object is moved 5 meters upward. Now I wanna move it downward. M, enter. Choose the direction, downward, type the distance. Let's exercise. Let's move this one. Select it. Type M, enter. Specify a base point. I click on this corner. I wanna move it to the center of this line, or even you can specify a point on this line. To do so, you can use the OSNAP as I explained before in the first part, and choose the nearest option, or hold down the Shift key, right click, nearest option. Here the nearest means a point on the line. Now here click anywhere on the line you want. Okay, it is moved. Well guys, here I taught you everything you need to know about copy and move tools. Now promise me that you will practice these two tools well so that you can completely master them. Well, the next tool we are going to learn is the rotate. As the name implies, we use this tool in order to rotate the objects we select. In order to activate it, you can click on it or use the shortcut that is the first two letters of the tool name. Of course, we will use the shortcut that is RO. Now let's see how it works. I want to rotate this drawing. Here I have to select objects. I can activate the tool first and then select the objects, but I prefer to select the objects first. Type RO, enter. When using the rotate tool, one of the important points is the base point. Here the program prompts me to specify the base point. I click here to specify. Now it prompts me to specify the rotation angle, that is 30. Enter. Rotated. This is the base point. Now look at here. RO, enter. I choose this midpoint as the base point. Do you see what happens? Guys, the point you specify as the base point, it rotates objects around that point. When do I need this base point and how it helps me? Let's see. Let me enter the angle. It helps me here. Let me draw a line, L, enter. I draw a line and wanna select these objects. I create a selection window from left to right so that the line is not included. I wanna rotate these objects. RO, enter. I specify the base point here since I don't want to change the location of this point and I want this point to remain attached to the line and just change the angle. So I specified the base point and now I type the angle 30. Got it? Now here again I draw a line, select the objects, RO, enter. Now if I specify this midpoint as a base point, look, now this time this midpoint remains in place since it rotates around the base point. Although the rotation angle is the same and if you move these objects to this point, they will be laid on top of these ones, but you have to select them and move them to connect to this line. Here, this line. So if you choose the base point carefully, you will be one step ahead and less tools will be used. This is one of the important points. Another important point. Let me copy. Multiple copies. Okay. I select objects and activate the rotate, RO, enter. I specify the base point. Now the rotation angle. Guys, if you wanna rotate objects counterclockwise, the sign of the angle must be positive. Look, now the rotation is going to be counterclockwise. Previously in the first part, I explained these things completely. Therefore, it must be positive. 30. Now let me select these, RO, enter. This time I choose this point and I want it to rotate clockwise. If I enter 30, it rotates counterclockwise. Press Ctrl Z to undo. Select RO, enter, the base point. Since I want it to rotate clockwise, the sign of the angle must be negative. Look, negative 30. Do you see? Now the rotation is clockwise. This is another important point to determine the rotation angle. Now let me draw a line. I need this line. Guys, again I select the objects, type RO, press enter to activate the tool. Specify the base point. Here I have two options. First, the reference option. Type R, enter. I want to rotate these objects using a rotation angle, but I don't know the size of the angle, and I just want this line to be parallel to this line. To do this, click on the start point and end point of the line. Then select the point option here so that you can specify the first point and the end point of the line that you want to be parallel to that line. Type P, enter, first point and the end point. Got it? So simple. There is only one more point left about this tool. Let me copy, select, RO, enter, base point. Here there is a copy option. It's clear. If you type C, enter, it will make a copy and rotate the copied objects. Do you see? It makes a copy and rotates it. Also, here you can use the reference option and rotate the objects parallel to the reference line. Do you see? So simple. Well guys, I think I explained everything about the rotate tool. Now go and practice this useful tool. Well guys, the next important and useful tool is the mirror tool. That is so simple and it helps us a lot. In order to use this tool, we must activate it. To do this, you can click on it or use the shortcut. That is the first two letters of the tool name, and as you know, I use the shortcuts. Now let's see how it works. As usual, since I want to use one of the modify tools, I have to select the objects to copy, mirror, or whatever. I want to mirror these objects, so then I select the objects, although it is possible to activate the tool first and then select the objects. But I prefer to select the objects first and then activate the tool. To activate the mirror tool, type MI and press enter. OK, activated. Now it prompts me to specify the first point of mirror line. So simple. Now I specify the second point of mirror line to determine whether the mirror line is angular, vertical, or horizontal. And you can see that this drawing aid helps us to find the vertical and the horizontal direction. I taught you all this in the first part of the AutoCAD tutorial series. Again, I repeat here that these drawing aids are very important. Now in this way, I specify the mirrored line. OK, click to specify. Now the program asks me if I want to erase these source objects or not. This is your choice, and you can choose yes to erase the source objects or no to keep them. By default, it is set to no. Press enter. Now the objects are mirrored. Now let's practice. I want to mirror these objects and create a reverse copy of them. I select them. Type MI, enter. I want to specify the mirror line in such a way that it passes vertically through the midpoint of this line. In order to find the midpoint, I use the OS snap. It shows me the midpoint. Now this is the first point. Now the second point, I want a vertical line, and here the polar helps me. OK, I click to specify. Do you want to erase the source objects? No, I don't. I want to keep it here. Enter. Finished. Guys, in these types of shapes that this side and this side are similar, the mirror tool is more useful. We just need to draw half of the shape, and instead of drawing the other half, we use the mirror tool to create a reverse copy of it. Look, now I wanna draw this shape. L, enter. Okay. Very nice. Now here the end point of this line and the start point of the above line should be vertically aligned. I use the drawing aid, AutoCAD. Move the cursor to the start point. Now move it down. Click. Press enter to exit. I select the objects to mirror. Activate the mirror tool. Type MI, enter. Specify the first point of mirror line. I want this line as my mirror line. So then the first point and the second. Erase source objects. No, enter. Guys, look, this line can also act as a mirror line. Let's see. Select the objects. MI, enter. The first point, the end point. Erase objects. Let me choose yes. Yes, deleted. So simple. It is a simple tool and very useful, so please practice this tool well. Well, the next tool we are going to learn is the scale tool. As the name implies, it is used to scale an object in AutoCAD. In order to activate it, you can click on it or use the shortcut. That is the first two letters of the tool name. As you know, I use the shortcut, since it helps me to speed up my performance and work faster. But before I start talking about this tool, I want to make an important point about shortcuts. Some say the shortcut is the first letter of the tool name that we have to type. Yes, that's right. But pay attention. Here I want to activate the line tool. I type L. You can see that all the tools that start with L are shown. The line tool is the first. If you press enter, it will be activated. Now look at the scale tool. I type S. Now if I press enter, you see that the stretch tool will be activated, not the scale tool. You have to type the second letter of the tool name to see if you can find the scale tool. Yes, here it is. I mean, you have to practice well enough to know that you have to type SC and press enter to activate the scale tool. In this case, you don't need to look at this list. Type the letters one by one and find the tool you want. I thought it necessary to explain here. Alright. Now let's go to the scale tool. Since this tool is one of the modify tools, I need to select the objects that I want to modify. As in the previous tools, you can select the objects first and then activate the tool, or activate the tool first and then select the objects. I prefer to select the objects first and then activate the tool. Now I wanna scale these objects. Select them. Now type the shortcut to activate the scale tool, that is SC. Press enter. The tool activated. OK. Listen guys, specifying the base point in the scale tool is just as important as in the rotate tool. Here the program prompts me to specify the base point. I click here to specify the base point. Here the base point acts as the center of the scaling operation and remains in place. And as you can see, scale command is used to enlarge or reduce the size of the selected objects. Now it prompts me to specify the scale factor. I wanna double the size of these objects. Type 2 enter. So simple. Here again I wanna scale these objects. Select them. Activate the tool. Now I specify this midpoint as the base point. Now this midpoint remains in place. Do you see? So specifying a base point is very important. Now I wanna reduce the size. Guys, a scale factor greater than 1 enlarges the objects. How many times larger do you want it to be? 2 times, 3 times? The scale factor between 0 and 1 shrinks the objects. For example, it could be 0.5 or, for example, 0.9. Here I type 0.5 and press enter since I want to reduce the overall size of the drawing to half of its original dimensions. Okay. Now here I want to scale this drawing. Select it. Pay attention, I don't want to scale this line and just this drawing. SC enter. Guys, here I need a base point. I want this point to remain in place. So click on this point to remain in place. Now I specify the scale factor, for example 1.2. Now here I want to scale this one. I create a selection window from left to right to not include the above line since I don't want to scale it. Type SC enter. I want this point to remain in place, so I specify it as a base point. Scale factor 0.5, got it? So simple. The last one, select it and activate the scale tool. Specify the base point. And here I have two options, copy and reference. First, reference option. Type R, enter. Guys, I use the reference option if I want to scale, for example, this drawing, but I don't know the scale factor. Instead, I have a line here. And I want this line to be reduced in length to the length of this line. Now I have to calculate and say that the length of this line is 2 and the length of this line is 1.5, then divide 2 by 1.5 to get the scale factor. Instead, I just need to use the reference option and scale the drawing by specifying the reference length. Specify the first point, the second point, and point option, P, enter. Specify the first and the second point of the line that you want the length of this line to be the same. First point, second point. Reduced. Let me draw a bigger line, it will help you to better understand. Select the objects, SC enter, base point, reference option. Specify reference lengths, this point and this point. Point option, P, enter, the same length as this line. First point, second point. It enlarges all the selected objects, not just this one. It means using this method, AutoCAD itself detects the scale factor. Okay guys, let me explain one last thing about this scale tool. Select the objects, SC enter, base point. Here I have a copy option, C enter, it's clear. Using this option you can make a copy of them and scale the copied objects. Scale factor 2 enter. For example, here I draw a circle. Okay. Select the circle, SC enter. The center point. Now I use the copy option, C enter. The main circle remains in place and I say draw me another circle twice the size of the first one. So as you can see, in some cases this copy option can be very helpful. Well guys, I think I explained all you need to know about the scale tool. Now go and practice this useful tool. Well guys, let's move on to the next tool, the Line tool. Do you wanna know where it is located? Go to the Modify panel, click on the drop down arrow, this is the Line tool. I don't know why AutoCAD has hidden such an important tool. Anyway, let's see how it works. To activate the Line tool, you can click on it or instead use the shortcut that is the first two letters of the tool name, AL. Of course, I use the shortcut. Like other modify tools, You can select the objects first and then use the tool, or you can activate the tool first and then select the objects. I prefer to select the objects first and then activate the tool. What is the purpose of the Align tool? Using this tool, you can move, rotate, and scale the selected objects at the same time. Do you see how important it is? No? Okay, I will show you. I want to rotate this line to be parallel to this line and move it to this point. Select the objects, type AL, enter. I want to rotate this line. The program prompts me to specify the first source point. I click. Now it prompts me to specify the first destination point. Now I specify the second source point, that is the end point of this line. Now I specify the second destination point. Here it prompts me to specify the third point. It is used in 3D drawings. Here I don't need the third point, so I press enter and the continue mode will be activated. Now it's time to scale the objects. After copying and rotating, the program now asks me if I want to scale the objects or not. No, I don't want, and enter. Now the objects are easily rotated and moved using the Align tool. Now let's add the scale. Select Align. Now I want to rotate this line. This is the first point and its destination is this point. Here is the second point and its destination is this point. No third point, enter. Do you want to scale objects based on alignment points? Yes. Y, enter. Objects are now scaled as well. If you want to use the two previous tools, you have to rotate the objects first and then scale, and at the end move them to this point. Now look at here, see what happens. Let me copy this. This is a door of width 1 meter. I want to place it here. I assume that I don't know line. I use the rotate command because I need to rotate the door. Okay, rotated. Now I need to move it to this point. Now I see that the door is somehow bigger. I must scale it using the reference option. Guys, I have already explained this. I say I want to reduce the width of the door. This is the width, so I want the width to be the same distance from this point to this point. Alright. Now look at here. Let me move it. I copy it and paste it here. I select it and use the Align command, specify the first point and its destination, also specify the second point and its destination. Press enter. Do you want to scale? Yes. So simple. Guys, this tool is very helpful, especially in such cases. Okay, please practice this tool as well. Now it's time to learn the trim and extend tools. If you click on the arrow next to the trim, you can also see the extend option. Guys, the way of using these two commands is the same, but the way they help us is different. Almost 90% of those who work with AutoCAD use trim, not extend. How is it possible? We have two tools that have different functions, but we only use the trim command. This is because you can switch between the trim and the extend commands. What does it mean? It means that you can reverse the trim command to make it operate as the extend command. Or vice versa, if you are using the extend command, you can switch the extend command to operate as the trim command. Since we usually need the trim command in our drawings, we are used to using this command. And whenever we need to extend, we can actually reverse the trim command to act as the extend command by using a keyboard key. But I am going to teach you both commands since some users like to use different tools for different operations in AutoCAD. You can use each method you like. It's up to you. Now let me make the topic exciting. Listen guys, in a few minutes I wanna unveil that important keyboard key. Well guys, let's see how it works. To activate the trim tool, you know better than me that you can click on the tool or use the shortcut that is the first two letters of the tool name, TR. But before I start teaching this command, I wanna explain something. Guys, look at this line. Do you see? It's a single object. Move it, enter. It's not a combination of two objects. Now if I wanna delete this part, I can't. If I select it and type E and press space or enter, I think the space key is more convenient, however they both do the same. The whole object will be erased. All these lines are single objects. I mean I can't just delete the middle part of the line. If I select it and delete, the whole object will be deleted. It means if I wanna change this drawing to this, the first way is to ignore that drawing and redraw based on my needs, that it doesn't work for me. Sometimes I draw something like this and I wanna modify it and erase some parts of the drawing. So I shouldn't start redrawing just because one part of the drawing is not what I want. There must be a solution. Well, now let's type TR and press enter to activate the command. Before I continue, let me point out that in previous modify tools, I selected the objects first and then activated one of these modify tools and started to modify. But here in trim and extend commands, we don't need to select the objects. Because when you activate these two commands, the program will put all the drawings in trim or extend modes by default. So there is no need to select anything. Just type TR, press enter, again press enter to skip the select objects prompt. If you remember, a few minutes ago we couldn't erase any part of this single line. The same here. All of them. Now look, do you see? It shows that when you activate the trim tool, it trims objects which meet the edges of other objects. In other words, it is used to remove extra lines or extra parts of an object. It was a single line, yes? In this way I drew it in one step, so I couldn't erase the extra part, but when I activate the trim, we see that it trims the objects from the intersection. Do you see? It trims this single line from the intersection. Now erase the extra parts you want. Any extra parts. Here there is no intersection, so it won't be trimmed from this point. It will only be deleted from the intersection. Now let's draw this one. It's an exercise and helps you to better understand. I wanna draw a circle, C enter, a center, a radius. Now I wanna draw a small circle, C enter. I want these centers to be horizontally aligned. We know how to do this. Please watch the first part of the tutorial. We use drawing aids. Move the cursor to the center, then move it to the right and click anywhere you want. Center point, then specify the radius. Now this line, L enter. I want it to be tangent to this circle. I use the O snap. Since I wanna use it temporarily, hold down shift, right click, tangent. This line is tangent to the circle. Also I want it to be tangent to this circle. Shift, right click, tangent, click, enter. Now I wanna mirror this. select the line, the shortcut, type MI, enter. I say in parentheses, guys, if you practice these tools well, you won't need to look at the command line and you will know what the next step is. Now we need a mirror line, first point, end point. Erase source objects, no, enter. Let me say something, guys, please follow the next videos and exercises that we are going to publish, because it is at the heart of the exercises that you can improve your performance. I activate the trim. Do you see? You can easily trim objects to where they intersect other objects and delete the extra parts. Now this one. I wanna change this drawing to this. Guys, here I see that this is a single line. Do you see? So I can't delete part of it. If I use erase command, the line will be deleted. Press Ctrl Z to undo. So I must activate the trim command. Now I have to delete all these parts one by one. What happened? It slowed me down. But there must be a way to draw faster and easier. Of course there is. Press Ctrl Z to undo. So I must activate the trim command. Now I wanna delete the part of this line located between these two lines. I use the cutting edge option, type T, enter. Now select the lines, this one and this one. You can also select the third line, select as many as you want. Now right click or press enter or space. Now delete the extra part. If you move the cursor over the single line and click, you can delete that part. Also you can select other object, T, enter, this line, space. Delete this part or this part. As you can see, only this line is selected and other lines are ignored. Now press enter to reactivate the tool. Now I wanna delete these extra parts. Do I have to click on them one by one? No. Undo. Pay attention. When you click, the fence mode will be activated, which I explained in the select tool, and in this way you can select the objects that you want to trim. One more time. I want to delete these extra parts, so I click here to specify the first fence point and move the cursor over the objects you want to delete. So simple. You can also use the crossing option, C, enter. Here I wanna delete these extra parts. To do this I create a window like this to delete those parts. Let me undo and reactivate the tool. I explained this one and this one, not the erase option, E, enter. Look, when we activate the erase option, it is as if we exit the trim command. This is a single line and as you can see, it will not be trimmed at the intersections. Select the line, enter. Guys, we use this tool when the trim command is active and we want to erase an object completely. So just choose the erase option and delete the object, so you won't need to exit the trim command and then activate the erase tool. So simple. Well, I talked about this option, this one and this, and you know the undo option which lets you step back. The project option you don't need to know right now. The mode option. Guys, we have these options in the trim command from AutoCAD 2021 onwards. And about the trim command, there are some differences between the versions before the 2021 and the versions after the 2021. Some things have been removed and some things have been added. But since some students want to use the trim command in the same way as it was used in the old versions, here I also refer to the old method and you can use any method you like. Activate the mode option or enter. Do you see it is in quick mode that is added from AutoCAD 2021 onwards. Activate the standard mode as enter. Again press enter and activate the trim command to apply the standard mode. In quick mode, we don't need to select objects and the program itself selects all objects. But in this standard mode, the program prompts me to select the objects I wanna trim. Although you can also select all objects. I select all in the old versions, since it helps me to work faster and easier. For example, if you need to trim, you can use it here, here and you don't have to select one by one. Use select all option so you can easily trim all the objects. In fact, in old versions, we had to press enter to select all, but in the latest versions, we don't need to press enter to select all. This is one of the differences. Another one, TR enter. Guys, in the latest versions, we use the cutting edge option, which specifies one or more items to be used as a trim border. But in the standard mode, by default, the program prompts you to select the cutting edges, then the lines to cut. Also, you can use this cutting edge option to select cutting edges in the latest versions. Another option is the fence option. Type TR enter. Guys, in the old versions, the default mode was crossing. Do you see? But in the latest versions, the default mode is fence. Here, you can use the fence option. Look. Okay. Again, let me activate the trim command. I talked about these options. Another option that we have in old versions is edge. Activate the edge and it must be in extend mode, E enter. Now look at this line. Do you see? Here we have no intersections. So why does the trim command work? What does extend mean? Increase in length. Guys, when we use the edge option in extend mode, look at here, it is as if we extend these lines. Although there is no line here, the program assumes that there is one. Which line? This green dotted line and this one. Let me extend the lines. So here you can use the trim command. Got it? Very nice. I reactivate the trim, and another option that is different in standard mode and in quick mode. Pay attention. Let me trim. Here there is a no entry sign because it is a single line that has no intersection. In old versions it was like this and we couldn't delete this line when faced with the no entry sign. But in the latest versions we can also erase this line. Let me activate the quick mode. TR enter. Mode option O enter. Quick. Do you see? You can erase this line. This is another difference. Well, guys, I explained everything about the trim command in both old and the latest versions. Now let me activate the extend command. I use the shortcut that is the first two letters. EX enter. Pay attention. Do you see? It extends the objects to meet the edge of other objects. Look. Now again here I see the no entry sign. Look, I can extend it downward, but not upward, since there is no object above this line, and just I can extend it downward. So simple. Look. Got it? So if you wanna extend this line, you can use the extend command. Look. It extends it to the next first object it meets. Any object. If you wanna extend it to this point, you have to click several times. But let me undo and activate the extend command. But there is another way. Here we have the boundary edges option. Using this option, you can extend this line to this point. Enter to this point, select it. Do you see the blue line? Press enter. Do you see? It ignores these middle lines and extends directly to the blue line. And here we have crossing option, mode option that I talked about in the trim command. And this option which we don't need, and undo option, you can use Ctrl Z to undo. Well, now is the time to unveil that important key. Guys, I wanna first let me activate the trim. I wanna extend this line. Pay attention. I want to reverse the trim command to make it operate as the extend command. If you hold down the shift key, it switches to the extend command. Do you see? In trim command, we select the cutting edges using this option. If I select the cutting edges and hold down the shift key, it changes to boundary edges. Look. It changed to boundary edges. One more time. Activate the trim command, select cutting edges. Press enter. Now it trims the objects. Do you see? Now if you hold down the shift key, cutting edges option changes to boundary edges. Because it switches to the extend mode using the shift key and holding it down. So simple. Now I wanna extend all these lines to the boundary edges. I have to click on them one by one, holding down the shift key. Or I easily use the fence selection method. Now you know that you can switch between trim and extend commands simply by holding down the shift key. Well guys, please practice these two commands as well to learn better. Okay guys, the next tool we want to learn is the fillet, which we use to round the edges of objects. To activate this command, we use the shortcut, which is the first letter of the tool name F. Type F, enter, activated. First of all, I have a recommendation for you, and I'm going to share my experience with you so that you know how to use this tool. This experience is very useful for you and it helps you work faster. After you type F and press enter, immediately specify the fillet radius. You need a radius in order to use the fillet tool. 0, 1, 2, any radius. Therefore, we use the radius option first. As you know, I don't click on the option and instead I use the shortcut or enter the radius. Now I specify the objects. As I already said, the fillet command rounds the edges. In fact, it connects this line to this line and rounds this sharp corner in this way. Now I specify the objects, this line and this line. So simple. Well guys, you learned that the fillet runs the edges. Now you may come across a question that is it necessary to have a corner to use the fillet command? No, in fact a fillet connects two objects with a tangent arc of a specified radius. This means it connects these two lines and runs the corner. F enter, R enter, another radius, 1 enter. This line and this line. So simple. It's not just about the lines. Look, here I have a line and a circle. It extends this line and creates a flat where they meet. F enter, R enter, the radius 2. This one and this one. Do you see? It extends the line. Pay attention. F enter, R enter, the radius 1. Do you see? It extends the line and creates an arc with a specified radius. Now let's see the second function of the fillet tool. I wanna draw this. Guys, please follow the exercises that I'm going to publish on our YouTube channel so that you can learn more details and also you can work more easily. Now look at this exercise. I see that here I have two circles and an arc of a circle that is tangent to these two circles. Now let's see how to draw this. I draw a circle using the tan radius option that I explained in the first part. T enter, tangent to this and to this, the radius 2 enter. It is not finished yet. I use the trim command to erase this extra part. Okay. This is one of the methods. Now pay attention. Let me copy these objects. This time I wanna draw using the fillet command. Now you may ask, how is it possible? How can we use the fillet command for this purpose? Listen. F enter, R enter, the radius 2 enter, this one and this. Guys, in fact, this is what fillet does. Pay attention. First, let's draw a circle tangent to these lines. Tangent to this and to this, the radius 2. In fact, fillet does the same thing. It draws a circle tangent to these lines, keeps the arc, and deletes the extra parts. If I don't use the fillet and draw a circle tangent to these lines, I have to erase the extra parts to round the corner. But if I use the fillet command, I can easily round the corner. Do you see? One more time. F enter, R enter, 2 enter. Select objects. So in this way I can draw this arc because it is as if the fillet draws a circle tangent to these circles and deletes the extra part. Here is another important use of the fillet command. I have these lines, I wanna connect them, or I have these lines and I wanna connect them, but I want the corners to be sharp. One way is to use the trim command, hold down shift key and extend it. The same here, we can use the trim and extend commands in order to connect the lines and trim this extra part. Now look. I draw the lines. Type F, enter, R, enter. The radius 0 enter. It connects these two lines and creates a sharp corner. It is very useful. We use it a lot. F enter, R enter, 0 enter, line and this line. Therefore, even in these cases, we can use the fillet command and enter 0 for the radius. Now let's draw some lines. I need them. Guys, I wanna round all the corners using the fillet radius. F enter, R enter, the radius 2 enter. This line and this. Now I have to press enter to reactivate the command. R enter the radius to select objects. Okay. It slows me down. Now look, F enter, R enter, the radius to enter. I use the multiple option. As I said before, when you use this option, it means that you can use the command as many times as you want without exiting the command. So simple. F enter, R enter, 2 enter, M enter. Let's see. Do you see? The command remains active. Now you may want to specify a different radius for this part. Don't exit the command, type R enter and change the radius 1. Since it is in multiple mode, you can use the command as many times as you want. Again, you can change the radius too. So simple. Now another exercise. Let me draw some lines. F enter, R enter, 2 enter. Trim, let's see how it works. T enter, by default it is in trim mode. Choose the no trim option. Up until now we worked in trim mode. Now let's try the no trim option. Pay attention. Got it? It flats the edge but doesn't trim these extra parts. Again F enter, R enter, enter. Do you see? Of course I prefer to choose the trim option. T enter, I choose the trim option. You know what undo does. You can press Ctrl Z to undo. I talked about the radius option, trim, multiple, now the polyline option. Guys, in the previous session and in the first part of AutoCAD tutorial, we learned about the polyline tool. Let's use the polyline tool and draw lines. Do you see? The shape is integrated. Now I use the fillet command. Enter the radius. Okay. Select the objects. In this way, it fillets the edge and the command is disabled. Guys, sometimes you use polyline tool to draw and you wanna fillet all the edges with the same radius. F enter, R enter, the radius enter. Here choose the polyline option. Do you see it fillets all the edges of objects in one step. And you don't need to fillet all the edges one by one. Also you can change the radius. So simple. Let me see if there is anything left. Oh, there is another important point. Let me move this object. Guys, we learned that if you wanna connect two lines with a sharp corner using the fillet command, you must follow these steps. F enter, R enter, 0 enter, click on the objects. I use this method most of the time and I forgot to explain the second method. In the second method, you can type F, press enter, pay attention, select one of the objects, hold down the shift key, and select the second object. You can see that these two lines are connected with a sharp corner. Well guys, please practice the fillet command and pay attention to the important points that I talked about so that you can use the fillet tool easily. Well guys, let's pass on to the next subject now, the chamfer tool. Where is the chamfer tool? Click on the arrow next to the fillet, you can find the chamfer tool. We use this tool in order to bevel the edges of objects. To activate the command, as you know, you can click on it or use the shortcut that is the first 3 letters of the tool name. Guys, before we go to the command, let me point out one thing. We have all these tools here, and they all help you draw faster and easily. Do you know what I mean? I mean that if I can draw this line more easily using another tool, so I don't need to use the chamfer tool in order to draw this line. And already in the first part, you learned how to draw an angled line. So you don't need to draw lines and then exit the line command and activate the chamfer command to chamfer the edges. Most students think that since we have a chamfer here, they must use the chamfer tool. No, my friends, you must consider whether using that tool will help you draw faster or not. Of course, sometimes, in some cases, we have to use special tools. Well, in such cases, we have no choice but to use that tool. For example, here I can use the line tool in order to draw this line. L enter, click. Now I assume that the length of this line is 4, type 4, enter. Now I wanna draw this line using the same line command. I already explained how to draw an angled line in the first part, but I wanna explain it again here. I wanna say that the second point compared to the first point should move 3 units on the x-axis and 4 units on the y-axis. Type 3, 4, enter. So I can easily draw these lines using only one tool. And I don't need to draw this line and this line and then use the chamfer tool to chamfer the edge. In AutoCAD, we have lots of ways to draw lines. Now let's move on to the chamfer tool. CHA enter. We can create the chamfer by specifying either the chamfer distance or angle. Based on the map information you have, you can use the distance option or the angle option. First, the distance method. Look at this edge. I wanna create this chamfer. Using the distance option, I wanna move 3 units to the right to this point and 4 units down to this point and draw a line. This is the distance method. These are the chamfer distances and this is a chamfer. Guys, if you remember the fillet command, I said type F, enter R, enter. The same here in the chamfer tool. Type CHA, press enter or space to activate the tool. Then first look at the map information. If you know the distance information, choose the distance option. D, enter. And if you know the angle information, choose the angle option. A, enter. First D, enter. I wanna use the distance option. First let me create an edge. Okay. CHA, enter. D, enter. Pay attention to this point. Guys, it doesn't matter if you specify this distance first or this distance. But you have to remember which one you specified first. If you specify this distance first, then when the program prompts you to select the first line, you must select this line as the first line. Look, here I specified the first chamfer distance. 3, enter. Now the second one, 4, enter. Now the program prompts me to select the first line. Since I entered this distance first, so here I must select this line first. Now I select the second line one more time. Let me draw lines. CHA, enter. This time I wanna specify this distance as the first distance. D, enter. 4, enter. The second distance, 3, enter. Now select the first line. I entered 4 first, so I select this line, then this. So simple. Now the angle method. In the previous method, the same distance method, it was necessary to remember the first entered distance to select the first line. In this angle method, do you see? This is the angle we need it. Here we have the distance. So the angle we need is the angle between this line and this line. If you know this angle and this distance, so then you will need the angle between this line and this line. If you don't have the angle size, you will need to find it to create a chamfer. Okay. I activate the chamfer, CHA, enter. Angle A, enter. Specify chamfer length on the first line, 4, enter. Now I specify chamfer angle, that is 37, enter. Select the first line, the second. One more time. CHA, enter. Angle option, A, enter. The chamfer length, 3, enter. The chamfer angle, 53, enter. Now select the lines. Guys, if you practice this chamfer tool, you will learn these steps and you won't need to look at the command line to see the next steps. Another point. Just as in the fillet tool we can connect two lines with a sharp corner, here we can also do this using the chamfer command. After activating the tool, select the first line, hold down the Shift key and select the second line. Do you see? So simple. One more time. CHA, enter. Select the first line, hold down the Shift key and select the second line. If you move the cursor over this end, it will trim this part from the intersection. If you move the cursor over this end, it will trim the other part. Click to select. Well, let me draw some lines. I need them. I activate the chamfer tool. Here I talked about distance and angle options. Now let's move on to the multiple option. Now I want to use the distance method in order to chamfer all these edges. Let's use the distance option. D, enter. Distance 1, 1. This line and this. The command is now disabled. I have to reactivate the tool and chamfer these edges one by one. Actually, I don't want to exit the command and I want to use this tool many times to chamfer the edges. As I said before, we will use the multiple option. If you enable this option, it means that you can use that active command as many times as you want and keep it active. M, enter. Now you can choose the distance option or the angle. D, enter. 1, 1. Now you can chamfer all the edges without exiting the command. Use the undo option to go back one step. Press Ctrl Z repeatedly if you want to undo multiple steps. Now the trim option. T, enter. Guys, you can see that the program is in trim mode by default and we were working in trim mode. Let's choose the no trim option. Distance option. 1, 1. Select the lines. Got it? It chamfers the edges without trimming these extra parts. Of course, I want to trim those parts. Sometimes that you don't need to trim the extra parts, you can use the no trim option. Again, I change it to trim mode. I talked about multiple trim, angle, distance, and undo options, the method option. If you choose this option, it asks you to enter the method. Okay. Let me reactivate the tool. The last option is the polyline option. Let me draw a polyline. You know that the shape we draw using this tool will be integrated. Type the shortcut PL, enter. Now draw the lines. Okay guys, this is a polyline. I activate the chamfer tool, CHA, enter. Now I wanna chamfer all these edges with the same distance. I use the distance option, D, enter. Type 1, 1. I use the multiple option since I wanna chamfer all the edges. M, enter. Select the lines. I have to select the lines one by one. Let's use the polyline option. Do you see? It chamfers all the edges of objects in one step. Well guys, I think I explained everything you need to know about chamfer tool, and please practice this important tool so that you can use it when needed. Guys, the next tool we are going to learn together is the stretch tool. This tool is one of the modified tools and it is used to stretch objects crossed by a selection window or polygon. In order to activate it, you can click on it or use the shortcut that is the first letter of the tool name, S. And as you know, I use the shortcut. As with other modified tools, you can select the objects first and then activate the command, or activate the tool first and then select the objects. I prefer to select the objects first and then activate the command. Of course, it's up to you and you can select objects first or activate the command. Guys, some students who don't know how to use this tool say that it is not a useful tool. But it is quite the opposite, and it is one of the tools that is very useful. Also, in some cases, it helps us to draw faster and easier, and instead of using 2 or 3 commands, we can use this command. Let's see how it works. Guys, suppose I have drawn this floor plan, and the client wants me to change the width from 5.4 to 6.4. I can do this using the stretch tool, but let's see how we can do this using another method. We can use the move and extend tools. First, let me copy this. I select all the objects. CO, enter. I have already explained in the first part of AutoCAD tutorial how you can copy an object. Specify a base point. I click here to paste, and now I can make changes. The client wants me to increase the width of the upper spaces by 1 meter. So I have to select those objects and move them up 1 meter. I need to select these objects and also these small lines since I wanna move them up. Let me check if I have selected all the objects I need. Yes, the client wants me to keep these spaces unchanged, so I don't select them. Alright, I activate the move command, click anywhere you want. As I explained before in the copy session, here it doesn't matter where you click. Click, move the mouse up and enter 1 to displace the selected objects. Now I need to extend these lines to complete the drawing. Like this drawing, I can use one of the extend, trim or fillet commands. I use the trim command, type TR, enter. Hold down Shift key and extend these lines. So simple. Now these small lines, you can extend all these small lines one by one like the previous lines, or as I taught you before, you can use the fence or crossing option. I use the crossing option. C enter. Hold down Shift key and extend the lines in one step. And also extend these lines to complete the drawing. Okay. It is finished. Now let me show you how I do the same in a simple way. Let me copy. Select the objects. Activate the stretch command. Specify a base point. Guys, about specifying a base point, I recommend you to watch the move and copy tutorial. In that session, I have explained how to specify a base point. When you want to specify a base point and enter a move length, it doesn't matter where you click to specify a base point, all objects will be moved correspondingly. Click anywhere you want and enter the length. Type 1, enter. OK. I did the same thing using only one command. In this way, I don't need to use the move command and exit that command and then activate the trim command to extend these lines. Instead, I use the stretch command. Now look at here. I want to change the distance between these two centers to 6. Select the objects, stretch, click. Move the mouse to right. I need to stretch it 1 meter. So simple. Guys, here is an important point that some students don't know and therefore say that the stretch tool is not so useful. It is how to select. It is very important to know how to select. Pay attention. I want to stretch this part upward 1 meter. I select these objects. Pay attention. S enter. I don't select this line. It means I have nothing to do with this line. This line will remain fixed. Using the stretch tool, you can stretch selected objects while keeping these points fixed. When I wanna move them upward, as you know, here the stretch tool moves the selected objects up or down, with the difference that it keeps these points fixed and actually it stretches the selected objects. Do you see? So it is very important to know how to select. Now I select these objects and when I stretch them to the right. And these points act as a nail since this line is not selected, so it can be stretched. It is very important to know how to select. Look at here, I wanna stretch it from here. So I select these objects. In fact, these selected objects will be moved to the right and I don't wanna stretch them. I wanna stretch them from here. I don't select these parts and it is as if here and here there is a nail. And if I move them to the right, they will be stretched from those points. And here I select the objects. Do you see? I have a nail here and here. If I move the selected objects upward, they will be stretched. The same here, I have a nail here and here since this line is not selected. So if I move them upward, oh sorry, I must use the stretch tool. And let me activate the stretch tool. Do you see? It is as if I have a nail here and here. Now you can see that the selected objects need to be stretched to move up. This is how we can use the stretch tool. So it is important to learn and know how to select the objects. Well guys, please practice this tool to learn how to select the objects and how and when to use this useful tool. Well guys, the next tool we are going to learn is the array tool. It creates copies of objects. Of course, we have the copy tool for this purpose, and if you remember, when I was teaching the copy tool, I gave you some information about the array tool. Now, what's the difference between array and copy? Let's see. Guys, array tool creates copies of objects arranged in a pattern in an advanced way. We have three methods. Rectangular array, an arrangement of objects that form a rectangle. Polar array creates an array by copying the selected objects around a specified center point. And path array creates an array along a path. So this array tool that we are going to learn is different with the copy tool that we use. To activate any of these methods, you can click on them, or you can type the shortcut that is the first two letters of the tool name. I prefer to use the shortcut. And like other modify tools, you can select the objects first and then activate the tool, or you can activate the command first and then select the objects. I prefer to select the objects first and then activate the tool. Well, I gave you a brief explanation about the array tool. Now let's see how the array helps us. Let me copy this circle. No, instead let me draw a circle. Okay. Now I wanna use the array tool. I select the object. Type the shortcut that is AR, press enter to activate the command. At the very beginning, it asks me to choose one of these methods. Rectangular, path, polar. Based on our need, we must choose one of them. Here I want to use the rectangular method. So type R, press enter. As soon as we press enter, the program creates a rectangular array based on the default information. This is a rectangular array. Do you see? Here is an array of rows and columns, so this is a rectangular array. Now I need to define the number of columns and the number of rows and the distances to create a rectangular array that I want. So simple. In order to define the number of columns and the number of rows and distances, there are three methods. You can use the array context ribbon, or you can use these blue symbols called grips to adjust the spacing and the number of rows and columns. Or you can use this command line. I prefer to use these grips or array context ribbon. First, I will explain the ribbon bar method so that it is easy for you to understand the tool. Look at the array context ribbon. Here you can adjust the number of columns and the distance between columns, and also here you can adjust the number of rows and the distance between rows. So fill in the boxes to create a rectangular array. Here you can see the number of columns, which is 4. Enter the number of columns, 5, enter, or 10, enter. In this way you can change the number of columns. I want it to be 5. Now distance, I want it to be 6. Okay. Guys, pay attention to the distance. I have already explained in the copy session that when we say copy an object a specified distance, this distance means the distance between similar parts of objects. Not this distance. Pay attention. This 6 means the the distance between this point and this point. This distance. Got it? This is the center of circle and it is similar to this point. So the distance between these 2 points must be 6. So pay attention to this distance. Most students get confused. Let me change the distance. It means this distance. Do you see? Sometimes we don't know the distance between the columns and instead we know the total distance between the first and last columns. For example, I know the distance between the first and last columns is 50. So I fill in the total box 50 and the program itself calculates the distance between the columns. Okay. So if you know the distance between the first and last columns, you can use this total box. Okay, let me change the distance to 6. No, 7. Well, now that you have learned how to fill in these boxes, you can fill in these boxes too. Number of rows, 9. We have 9 rows. Distance between rows, 9. So simple. You have now learned how to adjust the distances and the number of columns and rows using the array context ribbon. And these boxes are used in 3D drawings. Using this option, you can redefine the base point of the array. Click on it, you can redefine the base point. But I want it to remain in place. Most of the time, specifying a base point at this location helps me a lot. I will give you an example later so that you can see how important it is. Now I wanna talk about this option. Guys, I created this rectangular array while this option was enabled. Look, click on it to disable. If you click on it and this blue background appears, it means that it is enabled. So I created an array while this option was enabled. Press enter to exit the command. Let me move it. Again, I draw a circle. Let me create an array. Rectangular array. I adjust the number of columns, number of rows. Okay. The distances. Okay. Let me change it to 9. Now let me disable this option. It was enabled here and now it is disabled. What's the difference? Pay attention. The option is enabled and here it is disabled. It means if you activate the array tool and enable the associative option and exit the command after you created an array, in this case you can see that it is possible to modify the created array and you can make any changes and adjust the number of columns and rows and whatever. You can modify them. But in the case that you disable the associative option, do you see? In this case, it is not possible to modify the created array. As soon as you exit the command, you will have many separate objects. Guys, in your drawings, if you are not sure that these values, I mean number of columns, rows, whatever, if you are not sure that these values are correct, it is better to enable the associative option, so that you can make any changes if needed. Later I will teach you how to convert this array to this in order to have separate objects. Well guys, now you have learned how to use the associative option. Now let's see how we can modify this array using the array context ribbon with that option enabled. Here you can see that you can change the number of columns, rows and specify a new distance. Okay. So it is possible to change these values. I can also change the location of the base point. but I don't change it. And two other important points, pay attention. Guys, now I have created this array and the client wants me to reshape the objects and add another circle inside these circles. Seems that I have to create a new array. All the things I did and the values I set will be lost. I feel like I wasted my time. No, there must be a solution. Click on the Edit Source option. Select one of the objects. A dialog box will appear. Click OK. Look, select the object. Now I can edit it. I wanna draw a circle inside this circle. Pay attention, I created a circle and it applied to all objects. Do you see? Again, you can edit the objects. I wanna draw a line like this. Okay. Do you see? It applies to all objects. But here is an important point. In order to exit the editing and save these changes, click on the array, type array close, press enter. Save changes to array objects? Yes. If you don't wanna save, choose no. So in this way you can edit the created array. There is also another point. Let me press Ctrl Z to undo. Okay. Now look at here. I wanna draw a rectangle and a circle and another circle inside it. Okay, select the array. Here is the replace item option that replaces the source objects. Click on it to enable. Now the program prompts me to select the replacement objects. Here it is. Press enter. As you know, this is the base point of this array. Now it asks me which point of these objects you wanna move to this base point. If you press enter, it is center to center. If you click here, this point will be considered as the base point. It means this point will be moved to this point. I want it to be center to center. Press enter. Now select an item in the array to replace it with this new shape. You can click to select. I have to select one by one. Do you see? In this way you can replace them with a new shape. So simple. Or you can use this source option. It means that if you change the source, in this case, since you change the source of the array, all the array objects will be changed. Press enter. Do you see? Okay. Let me see if I explained everything. Guys, there is another important point that you need to know. Let me simplify it so it doesn't confuse you. I said that you can edit this array using the array context ribbon and also using these grips. Well, this is the base point. This one, it is clear. Do you see? It shows the distance between columns. So click on it and drag it to the right. I drag it to this point and click. Or you can even enter the distance value. For example, 6. So you can use this grip to set this value. The first grip. And you can use this grip to specify the distance between rows. Therefore, these two grips are used to change the distances. And this grip, if you hover the mouse over this grip, these three options will appear: column count, total column spacing, and the axis angle. Click on any option you need. If you wanna change the number of columns, by default, if you move the mouse to the right, you can specify the number of columns. You can also enter the number of columns, for example 7. Okay. If you select the total column spacing, it changes this value. For example 40. Do you see? This time I wanna click on the axis angle option. Do you see? Okay. And this grip can be used to set the row values. By default, if you select it, you can change the number of rows. Okay. If you click the total row spacing option, you can change the distance. Enter the distance 80. If you click the axis angle, you can set the angle. And the last grip, if you hover the mouse over this grip, do you see you can change the number of rows and the columns altogether. In this way. Both column and row. If you hover the mouse over these grips, it is possible to change one of those values. Also, you can select the total option. Do you see? Okay. Another important point. Let me draw a circle. Activate the array tool. Guys, you can also use these options. This is the same option, base point, count, space, columns, rows, levels. But I don't use these options, and instead I prefer to adjust the values using this ribbon. And I suggest you use this ribbon. But there is no problem, you can also use these options. For example, spacing, you can specify the distance between columns. I enter the distance, for example, help me guys, 30. Now I specify the distance between rows, 50. So simple. After spacing, I wanna enter the number of columns. Click on columns. Enter the numbers 6. Now the distance, press enter to apply the same value 30. Now the row option. The program prompts me to enter the number of rows. For example 8. Now the distance between rows. If you click total, this option and this do the same thing, the total value 200. Okay. In this way you can adjust all the values. Alright. Let me delete this. Okay. Let me see if I explained everything about the rectangular array. Yes. Let me add one more point that may be of interest to you. Here I want to show you how you can edit an array using a base point. Here is the base point. Now I want to change its location to this point. Now select the grip and move the mouse down. When I change the base point of the source object, it changes in all objects. Now if you select this grip and move the mouse to the left, you can connect the objects to each other. In this way you can use the base point to edit an array more easily. Now you can see that these objects are completely connected to each other. Now let's move on to the polar array. Let me copy this object and paste it here. Okay. Now I wanna draw a circle here. Alright. As I said before, polar array creates an array by copying the selected objects around a specified center point. So I select the object, type AR, enter. This time I choose the polar option, type PO, enter. If you wanna create an array around a specified center point, the first thing you need to do is specify a center point. As you can see, the program prompts me to specify a center point of array. Click. An array is created by default and based on these values as soon as the center point is selected. Again, you can change these values to create the array you want. Number of items 3. Okay. Or 5. Okay. Guys, polar array creates an array based on the angle between items. This is the angle. Pay attention. Look at these two similar points. The angle between items is the angle between these two red lines. Pay attention to the red lines. This red line is drawn to the center point that we have specified. If you look at these two objects, you can see that the red lines are drawn from similar points. Got it? So this angle is the angle between items. I want the angle to be 45. 5 items and the angle between them is 45. If you want to arrange the objects around the circle, you can set this value to 360. It means it is not possible to set this value to 45 and arrange the objects around the whole circle. So if you want to arrange the objects around the circle, you can set the fill angle to 360 and the program itself will calculate the angle between the items. So in this way you can set the angle between the first and last item in the array. For example, here I set it to 270. For example, 90. Got it? The program itself calculates the angle between items. I change it to 45. And here you can set the number of rows, 2 rows. And the distance between rows, 10. Okay. Number of rows, 3. And this is the total distance between the first and last rows. If you set the total row distance, the program will calculate the distance between rows itself. Okay. Let me specify the distance. 5. No, 6. Okay. And the number of levels that is used in 3D drawings, and you know what the associative is for. It enables you to edit the array even after exiting the array command, and the direction, if enabled, the array will be created counterclockwise. Since the default rotation direction of AutoCAD is counterclockwise, if you disable it, the direction of the rotation will be clockwise and the array will be created in this direction. About rotate item, let me explain it in the heart of the drawing. I draw a circle and a rectangle. Let me see. I draw it here. Select it. Polar array around this point. Okay, now pay attention. It's clear, when you enable the rotate item, you can rotate the items as they are arrayed. Do you see? But if you disable it, the items will remain unchanged. Do you see? They are not rotated. Let me enable it. Look at the rotation direction. It is counterclockwise. Disable it. The rotation will be clockwise. Enable it counterclockwise, disable it, the rotation is clockwise. Got it? And the base point option, as you know, you can change the location of the base point. Okay, I think I explained everything about the polar array. Now let's see how we can edit this array. We will use these blue grips to edit the created array. First this grip, let me delete this circle. Okay, select the array Guys, if you select this grip, you can specify the angle between items. You can click or enter the angle, 50. So simple. Using this grip, you will have two options. You can edit the fill angle and the number of items. If you select the grip, you can set the number of items. You can enter a number or click. OK. If you hover the mouse over this grip and click on the fill angle option, you can edit the angle between the first and last item in the array. Now this one. It is clear. Using this grip, you can edit the spacing between rows, as we had in this array. Select the grip and specify the distance between rows. And using this grip, you can enter the number of rows. OK. And this is the level count that we don't need it. Let me see. I think I explained everything you need to know about the polar array. Alright. Let me move these arrays. I don't delete them. I may return to them. Now let's move on to the path array. Guys, there is an important point about the path curve that we draw to create a path array. This path curve must be a spline or polyline. Of course it can be a line, but in that case you can create a path array only along this line, and for this line you need to create another path array. So if you want a path curve like this, you will need to draw it using this spline tool or the polyline tool that you have already learned how to use it. Okay, now let me copy this spline and paste it here. And I need this circle. Okay. Select the circle, type AR, enter. Path array, PA, enter. Now select the path curve. This is. As soon as the path curve is selected, an array is created based on the default values. Pay attention. Guys, look here, we have this measure option. And also pay attention to this items icon. It means that when you use the measure method here, you can specify the distance of the items. Look, I didn't enter the number of items. I just entered the distance between the items. In this way, you can specify the distance between items. Measure method, distance. Now click on this icon to disable it so that you can enter the number of items, 3. Now the distance, 3. If you enable this icon, do you see? Let me disable it. I use the measure method. Click on the icon to enable it. In this case, it is only possible to enter the distance between these items. Enter the distance and an array will be created along the path curve. If you disable it, you can enter the number of items, for example 5. Enter the distance, 5. In this case, it doesn't matter where the path curve ends. As you can see, with these values, it is possible to create only 5 circles at the specified distance. Also, you can enter the total distance, got it? This is the measure method, and if you enable this icon, the number of items will be automatically calculated from the length of the path curve and the distance between items. And here you can specify the number of rows, distance, and total row distance. You can specify all these values. And these values are used in 3D drawings, associative option that enables you to edit the array even after exiting the array command. and this is for redefining the base point, and this option is used in 3D drawings. Let me change the measure method to divide method. Guys, when we use the divide method, we cannot specify the distance between items. Only it is possible to enter the number of items. In this way, an array will be created along the path curve. The distance between items cannot be specified in this method. Therefore, we have two methods, divide and measure. Divide method, it distributes the items evenly along the length of the path. It is divided based on the number of items we enter. And I talked about the measure method. Okay. Now I want to explain the tangent direction option. Let's see how it works. Look at here. I zoom in, select this, AR enter, path array, select the path curve. Now pay attention. Click on the tangent direction option to enable it. Specify the first point of tangent direction, second point. What happened? I will do it again. Press Ctrl Z to undo. Select the source object, AR enter, path array, path curve. This is an array based on the default values. Here this line is tangent to the path direction. Now I want this line to be tangent to the path direction. Do you see? So simple. Now if you disable the align option, click to disable. Like the rotate items option in the polar array, here too if you disable the align option, these items will not be aligned so that they are tangent to the path direction. But if you enable it, each item will be tangent to the path direction. Got it? So you can use this option if needed. And the base point, you can redefine it. Okay. Let me see if I explained everything. Also here we have the same options that you can use. Alright. Let me edit this array, select it. Here you can edit these values. For example, 5 for the distance. Number of rows, 3. You can adjust all these values. You can disable or enable the align option. Also, you can edit the source object. Let me edit the source object. Click on it. Okay. Select the source object. For example, move this point here. Do you see all objects changed? Now, in order to save the changes, type array close. Press enter. Yes. So simple. Okay, I think I explained everything about the array tool. Well guys, please practice all types of arrays. This array tool is very useful and helps us in most cases. For example, if you want to distribute object copies along a path, or distribute object copies in a circular pattern, or you may want to draw a window and duplicate it and place the copies at equal distances. So you can easily use the array tool for this purpose and create windows in the elevation view. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't miss the tutorials and exercises that we are going to publish. And there I will show you how important this array tool is. So don't forget to practice this tool. Guys, the next tool we are going to learn is the explode tool. Using this tool you can break a compound object into its component objects. So you can make changes to component objects separately, modify them, or do whatever you want. Now let's see how we can use this tool in these drawings. To activate this tool, you can click on it or use the shortcut that is the first letter of the tool name X. Type X or explode, press enter. Okay. You can select the objects first and then activate the tool, or you can activate the tool first and then select the objects. Alright, now I will explain how to use this command in these drawings. If you guys remember, we drew this using the array tool and we activated the associative option so that we can edit this array if needed. Now I don't need to edit this array anymore, so I can break this compound array. I wanna delete some of these objects. To do so, I need to use the explode command. So you can use the explode command to explode an associative array into copies of the original objects and remove any objects you want. As you know, if you click on the array, this ribbon will appear. Now if you want to activate the explode command, click on the home tab and then click on the explode icon or type its name or shortcut and press enter. Now look at here. Do you see? Now the objects are separated and you can modify them separately. Therefore, the explode command can help us in these cases. Now look at here. Guys, this is a polyline. If you hover the mouse over it, you can see its name. Now I wanna break this compound object into its components. Now if you wanna break these polylines into separate objects, you can use the explode command. You have already learned what a polyline is, and I drew this using the rectangle tool, but it's also a polyline. I select them, type explode, press enter. Do you see? Now you can easily modify these individual objects. For example, you can delete this object. Now this one, it's a block. I will teach you how to create a block in the next video. If you hover the mouse over it, it shows that it's a block. Now I wanna make some changes to this block and delete this circle. If you click on it and press delete, all components of the block will be deleted since it's a compound object. Now if I explode this, I can delete the circle. Okay. The last drawing about hatch. Hover the mouse over the drawing, you can see that it's a hatch. Now I have created this hatch and if I select it and press enter, the hatch will be deleted. But I wanna delete only this line. Therefore I must break it using the explode command. Click on it, explode enter. Now select the line and press delete. So we learned how to use this explode command. Now you can practice this command to learn better. Guys, the next tool we are going to learn is the offset tool. As the name implies, we use this tool to offset an object. Using this tool, you can create a parallel copy of the source object at a specific distance. In order to activate it, you can click on it or type the shortcut that is the first letter of the tool name O. Guys, just like in the trim command that you didn't need to select the objects first, it's the same here, and after you activate the tool, you can offset any object you want. Now let's activate the offset tool to see how it works. Type O, enter, and no object is selected. Now the program says, okay, no problem, I will offset any object you want, but you have to specify the distance. So the program prompts me to specify the offset distance. For example, 1, enter. Now select object to offset. Move the mouse to the right or left and specify a point on one side to offset. And here select the source object, move the mouse up or down and specify a point to offset. You can continue to offset by selecting an object and specifying a point. Do you see? Got it? So simple. Now look at here. Activate the offset command. Specify the distance 0.5. Select object to offset. Once you select the object, the multiple option will appear. Now let me activate the multiple option. Once the multiple option is active, click on side to offset, and instead of selecting the source object again, keep clicking in the direction you want to reach the required number of objects. Do you see? You can specify points on either side of the source object, but if you don't use the multiple option, you have to reselect the source object again and again to offset. Got it? So simple. The erase option. If you use the erase option, enter, you will see that it is set to no by default. If you set it to yes, the source object will be erased. Let me set it to yes. Now if I offset this object at a specified distance, the source object will be erased. I prefer to set it to no. It is also set to no by default. And we have another option, through. Let's see how we can use it. I want to offset this object, but I don't know the distance. Actually, I need a line here so that if I extend that line, it passes through this point. So if you don't know the distance, you have to use the through option. Enter. Source object, through point. Pay attention. Do you see? Click on the screen to specify the through point. Okay. In this way, you can offset an object using the through option. And the undo option that you can use it to undo an action. Alright. Now let's use the offset command for this rectangle. The distance 1. Guys, as you can see here, we have two rectangles. Select object to offset. Now select this one. Guys, this rectangle is a polyline, and if I click on one of its sides, the rectangle will be selected as an object to offset. But here, since these sides are individual objects, you have to select the sides separately to offset. Do you see? Now, if you wanna convert this to this, you can use the fillet or trim commands. Fillet. Let me use the multiple option, enter. Now look at here. Very nice. Okay. Now, dear friends, I wanna use an important command here. Although I will talk about it in the next videos, it is certainly very helpful. Guys, look at these individual lines. Do you see? I wanna make them join to create a single polyline. Select all the objects, modify panel, join tool. I use the shortcut, type J, enter. Now this is a polyline. Now you can use the offset command to create this shape. It is very useful and saves time. Also you can select and explode this polyline. You can offset this shape in the same way. Specify a point on side to offset. Alright. Let me take a look at the options. The layer option, that you choose a layer which is not so important. Well guys, I think I explained everything about the offset command. Please practice this tool so that you can easily use it in your drawings. Well guys, now it's time to talk about grips. Here we want to learn how we can use grips to modify these drawings. Before we learn how to use grips, I wanna give you a brief explanation about grips. Guys, look at here. When I click on these objects, any object, each of these small squares is a grip. They appear when objects are selected. Grips are displayed at key points. For example, in this selected line, we have 3 key points. Or here in this circle, the center point as well as the 4 quadrant points are the key points. So we will have grips at these points. So we learned that each of these squares is a grip. Now let's see how we can use these grips to modify our drawings. If you select the object, the grips will appear. To use any of these grips, you must click on them. Selecting a grip changes its color to red. Okay. Now I wanna point out one of the cases where we use this grip a lot. Please pay attention. Release the mouse button, move the mouse to the right or left, it doesn't matter. Do you see the text box next to the cursor? Once you select the grip, the program will prompt you to specify the stretch point. Suppose we have a line like this and we want to stretch it from this point. For example, if you want to increase the length of a line by 1 meter, I recommend you to use grips. Just type 1, press enter. Got it? Even you can decrease the length. Just move the mouse to the left and enter a value to decrease the length. To enter. You can even stretch this line so that the end point be vertically aligned with this point. Of course, you can draw another line connected to this line in this way. In this case, you will have to separate lines. Do you see? So if you want to have a single object, you need to make them joined. Instead of drawing a separate line, I recommend you to use these grips and stretch the line in this way. You can see that here I also use the drawing aids that I explained in the first part. Please watch the first part for this purpose. Another point. Look guys. Here we have a gray box that shows the length of the line. For example, I have drawn this line and its length is about 12 and I want it to be 10. So select the grip. If you click on this endpoint, look, the first point of the line remains fixed. If you select this grip, this point will remain fixed. Now I want to increase the length by 1 meter. 1, enter. Okay. Now I want to reduce the line length to 10 and enter the length directly. I must switch to the gray box. As you have already learned, you need to press the tab key to switch. And now enter the length 10, enter. Now the length of this line is 10. Okay. Now if you select this grip, you can change the location of the endpoint. The first point remains in place and you can change the location of the endpoint. Do you see? The line length also increases. In other words, it's like I'm stretching the line. And also here you can see the stretch command. Do you see? Now pay attention. Press tab key. The angle is enabled. It means that you can change the angle. Press tab to activate the angle. 90, enter. Got it? Now I select this grip, press Tab key. Now here you can see the size of the angle between this line and the horizontal axis. Press the Tab key again. This time you will have the angle between the first line and the rotated line. You can choose any of them you need and use it. Be sure to learn these important points. Now let's move on to the circle. Select the circle. Here if you select the grip you can see the radius and change it easily. Type the radius you want and press enter. I want it to be 4. Select the grip, enter the radius. In addition to the radius that you can change it, look at the gray box. You can also specify the distance between the first circle and the second circle you want to create. Press Tab, it switches to the distance, and you can change the distance. So in this way you can use the grips. Another case where you can use these grips is when you wanna trim or extend an object. For example, here I wanna trim this object, so I activate the trim command, select the object to trim. Okay. Instead, you can easily select the object and then select the grip and move it to another point. Select the grip and move the mouse. Now I want to extend this line to this point. Select the line, select the grip and move it to this point. Here you can see that I use the drawing aids to move the grips to the points I want. And I have already enabled these drawing aids. If I disable them, I can't easily extend this line to the point that I want. I can't find the intersection. If you don't know how to use these drawing aids, please watch the first part of AutoCAD tutorial. So let me enable these drawing aids. Now you may want to extend these two lines in one step. It's so simple. First select these two lines. Hold down the shift key, select the grips, this one and this one. Release the shift key, move the mouse to this point. Got it? Ctrl Z to undo. Select the lines, hold down the shift key and select the grips. If you click the grip again, it will be deselected. Release the shift key, only you can move this grip. Alright. Now please pay attention to another point. Let me copy this object. I wanna rotate this line, select it, RO enter. A base point, I have to specify it. Instead, you can select the object and use the grips. Select this grip, type RO, press enter. Now you are one step ahead and you don't need to specify a base point. Do you see? You can use the shortcuts to activate the modify tools, or look at this command line. Instead, just press enter or space key several times so that the modify tools will appear one by one. You can move or rotate it using this grip as a base point. Considering this point as a base point, you can scale this line. You can also create a mirrored copy of this line. This is the first point. Now I specify the second point of the mirror line. Got it? And you can also change the location of the base point and create another mirror line like this. Okay, let's do it again. Select the grip. I consider this as a base point. RO enter to activate the rotate command, specify rotation angle. Okay. Or you can select the grip, activate the rotate command, and here there is a base point option that you can use to specify another base point so that you can rotate the object based on that point. And also you have a copy option that you can use to rotate the copied object. And we have already learned how to use the reference option. Let me use the reference option. Here I draw a line and I want to rotate this line using the reference option. This one and this one. This base point will remain in place and the location of the other point changes. Press Ctrl Z to undo. OK. And you can also select the grip, right click and choose the command you want. Move, rotate, scale, mirror, base point, or choose the copy option. Base point. Specify a base point. Press enter several times to see the name of the modify tools in the command line and use the tool you want. Also, the base point has changed. Undo option that you can use to take a step back. Alright. The last point is about polylines. Polyline grips are somewhat different. If you select the polyline, you can see the grips. Guys, since these lines are joined to each other, if you select this grip, do you see, if you move the mouse, you can see that the lines connected to this point are changing. Like the previous exercise, you can press Tab key and specify an angle. Press Tab, stretch. Press Tab and specify the length of the line. For example, I want it to be 9. Do you see? This line also changed. Also here you can choose Add Vertex. You see another vertex and the grip are created. Using this grip you can make changes. So you can select the grips and change the shapes in this way. Or add a vertex. You can place the vertex wherever you want. Also you can remove the vertex. Well, I think I taught you everything you need to know about grips. Well guys, we are now at the end of the second part of the AutoCAD tutorial series. Please practice all the tools I taught you in this tutorial. Probably after watching this video, other questions have arisen in your mind. Please feel free to share them in the comments below and I will try to answer, or I will make a new video about your question. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't miss our next interesting videos. Well, take care, goodbye, until next session.